Board Games. I'm Brad Blake.
I'm Toph Ferguson.
And we're bad at board games, so you don't have to be. He's kind of good at board games, but, you know, it's fun this way. Today's episode is brought to you by the color green. You notice the difference we got going on? And that's all because this game kicked our... Anyway.
Yeah.
We are doing this again. This is our second time and your first. If you saw the Blitzkrieg and Caesar video, the reason I had to throw that together is because we went through this game beat us up so bad that I forgot to hit record on the video. Nicely, we hit record on the audio, but nobody wants to listen to anything by itself without video on YouTube. That would be really bad. So we're back for round two, and hopefully it's not so horrible.
We at least are a little bit more awake and mentally prepared than we were in the last one.
You would have seen a lot of, like, when we did the first impression on this one, the day we played it on Sunday. So, Toph, tell us a little bit about the theme. We're going over Barrage, so it's top 50?
Yes, it's number 41 currently on BGG's top 50 list.
All-time list. Heavy Euro.
It is a heavy Euro, that is right. So, if you've not been familiar or heard of Barrage, quick background to the game itself. The game takes place in what would be a post-World War I, 1920s in the French Alps. Kind of a little bit alternate history where you see Tesla kind of beating out Edison for the power game. And we are playing as kind of one of the world's powerhouses, if you will. A company that is coming into the French Alps trying to take advantage of the water that is flowing through the Alps, utilizing that, building up dams, building up our power plants, building the conduit that we need to take the water from our reserves through the power plants, all in a way to be able to get the power, which ultimately will turn into money, maybe more equipment that we can buy to be able to upgrade faster, and then victory points in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely not a painted on theme.
No. The appearance of it and the quality of it is really good. I'd say there's a little bit of warping in some of the boards. It would be nice if it was a little bit thicker, but the graphic artist that did all this did a great job. I think the Tesla coils look really nice. There's so many details. It's a darker board. However, when you look and start checking out all the depth and all the little things that are going on your player boards, on the main map, on the worker placement areas, and even the score tracking, it's really cool. And then you also get this wheel that spins, and these parts fall all over the place. But this is real time. Like you do something, and then it takes that resource away from you for like 5 turns of the wheel. So it's got some interesting things going on with a heavy worker placement type game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's some of where the theme kind of shines through with some of these little details. I mean, it is a Euro game, so it's a darker board, not bright, vibrant colors, other than your bright pink pieces, playing pieces. But it really has depth to not only the view of the board, but also the mechanics and what you're doing. It at times makes you really feel like you are fighting to build up these power plants and build up these dams. It is a worker placement, as Brad said, so it is a game where you have limited resources that you are sending out to extremely limited places. You are really having to fight to figure out what you're going to do in your turns, and that limited kind of play, limited resources comes in, as Brad said, with the wheel, taking time to get your resources back, or the limited spots that you can place your workers as you go out and do things. It's, there's a lot going on. It's a game where there's things everywhere, but it's hard to do anything through that.
So this has a weight rating of 1.01 or something, 4.01, definitely not a 1. And Kanban, which we love, is like 4.3. It's higher. So I disagree with that.
Move your body.
Kanban's a beast to learn, but it wasn't hard to play. This game was easy to learn, and this is a beast to play. This was exhausting. This game destroyed Toph and I. This game seems like it's designed to torture the people trying to play the game. That's the only way I can describe it. At least in your first couple of tries. It's brutal. It is just it's just brutal. It is a brutal game. Easy to learn. Like, I watched one play of it because I just, I honestly just didn't have the time to read the book. So I went through, watched something. I'm like, oh, this is easy. And once we sat down and started playing, it was just like bam, 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 bam. And then the game just kicked us in the,
And then it kicked us again when we were down on the ground in the fetal position.
Yeah. And then it kicked us again and again, every time. Like, just down.
It was rough. And it's funny to admit that because we are both heavy gamers. Like, we play heavy games. Yeah. And I have never been so mentally exhausted. Like, I have had days of playing games from sun up to sundown, and they have been heavyweight games all day long. And I end that day saying, okay, I'm, a little bit tired, whatever. It's been a whole day. It's in one game, I was done. I'm just, and it's, you try for things. Like, our game was interesting. It starts out with a little bit of setup on the board. You have some dams that are on the board that are neutral, that are not owned by us, but they're there. And you'll see those by the brown or neutral colored pieces. And then we start building onto the board. Brad started pretty easily in our game in a position that gave him almost an engine. I don't want to say this is an engine builder. There is a little bit of that to it. You do have to figure out how water is falling. The theme, again, you're starting at the top in the mountains. Water's falling down to the hills, going down to the valley at the bottom. And where you place your dams is going to collect the water, and it can fall through your power plants. Other people can collect it. He had an engine going. I did not. And that's fine. I wasn't going to immediately jump in and try to build over here to steal. I was like, let me do something different. I can handle this. I can go somewhere. I can do something. I went to the other side of the board. I started building things, and then all of a sudden, it was just like, what do I do? Like, I am lost. I'm not getting water. I'm not getting anything coming to me. Felt like there wasn't enough water droplets coming into the game in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then once I started getting the power plant, the conduit, and the dam, now you have very limited spaces where you can go to actually convert the water from the dam, from the reserves, down through your power plant. I felt like I could go nowhere.
Yeah, so I had this glimpse on the first turn. It was like, I saw this like beautiful chaining of events, where you're the typical Euro where you're doing this thing to do this, to do that. And I had it all planned out. And then I realized, oh crap, I've got to get my energy. So they give you, victory contracts that give you energy points, which then give you victory points. And I was gonna do all this stuff to set up the next round, but I had to finish the contract. Like, I know that you need to finish a contract every turn in this game. And then that was the first kick. And it was like, no, you're not gonna get to do that. And then I was looking at it and I'm like, well, I'm gonna now need another contract for turn. Like, all the stuff I thought was gonna be really cool for that. This is a 9. This is a great game. It's 9 out of 10. And it just started beating me down. Every time I turned around, it was like, it forces you to do this and, to get these contracts. And then to get these contracts and you lose your resources, it felt like you had so little to do. And then the second turn came up and the board's wide open. It was like trying to envision counting into, I've talked about this before, a giant 6-deck, shoot at Vegas, and count all those cards. There were so many options in the game. I'm like, I don't know what's good. I don't know what to do. I sit there and I'm like, and you have worker placement, you have water coming down, you have where it's going to stop, you have these contracts. There were so many things to consider. You just couldn't. Like, you literally just had to be like, heck with it. I'm going to throw something here and see what happened. Because, get your contract and then just try to throw something on the board and then see what happened. And as the game progressed past 2 and 3 and more stuff came out, it made it easier to play, actually, because your options then became limited. You could only go here, or you could only do this, and then you could start to see what was going to happen. But that kick in the pants where you just couldn't do anything you wanted. Anything you wanted to do, you really couldn't. The game was was just soul crushing in that.
Yeah. I'm starting to get anxiety. Like, I'm starting to get that, like, oh my God.
Are we selling this game? Go out and
Probably
buy it.
not, yeah.
Go get the best soul-crushing game you can find right here at Barrage.
It's worth it. I promise you, it's worth the torment that you will go through. Yeah, it's, you know, there's so much going on. At one point, Brad was so excited for his options. He, like, that light went. Like, I could see it. I was like, there it is. He knows what he's going to do. I'm lost. I've already lost the game. I was ahead at that point in time. And then all of a sudden I had my contract that I started with. I was able to cash in that contract. Then I had to get new contracts. I don't have men to go get contracts. Like, I don't have workers to go get them. What am I going to do? And Brad's over there being like, you have to do a contract every turn. I was like, I know, but I can't get a stupid contract. Like, I can't get a man over there to get that because I've got to do something else or I've got to do this. And as you progress through the game, where I didn't consider this in the beginning, but in the first round, you need a little bit of power to get whatever the advantage is. I am an end game player. I've said that throughout this entire channel. Brad knows that. I shoot for the end game. And I saw what the end game objective was to get the extra victory points. I was like, I can do this. There are objectives that you can get extra victory points as you go through every single round.
Every turn.
But you need, yeah, every turn. But you need to get your power up, and it's increasing. It's not just get 5 power. It's get 6 power this time, and then it's get 6 plus another 6 or whatever for the second.
It goes up 6 power every turn.
And if you don't get up high enough with it, then you're taking negative victory points against what those are. So even if you complete the objective, all of a sudden it's like, no, you're down on the ground. Let me kick you one more time. No, you just move that piece backwards, lose some victory points.
And all while, when you want to do something, you gotta remember your resources are stuck in the stupid spinning wheel of death. It's like, oh, this is so cool. Look at this spinning thing. Yeah.
After a while, you're cursing
like, I
at
hate this thing. Oh.
And good news is you can actually spend some of your workers and some money to spin your wheel to kind of speed up the actions. But you don't have money in this game to be able to do that. Money is so hard to come by, and your men are limited because you want to build things. You're gonna do something else. I mean, it's just.
And you think you got all these engineers. It's like, oh, I'm never gonna. You look at this game and you're like, I'm never gonna run out of resources. I don't have to have money. I've got all the stuff right on my board. It just takes these little mech dudes. They just have to build it. You come out of the gate going like, this is cool. It gets rid of all, and then it's just like, oh my god, my word. It's like, won't let me do this, won't let me do that. I can't afford to do that. Every time you turn around, and then you're fighting for the same worker placement stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you want a contract, you need a worker. You want a mech, you need a worker. You want to move your wheel, you still need a worker. You want to be able to fulfill your contract, you need a worker. Like, you're thinking like, oh, I got my contract, I just get that at the end. No, you got to spend 2 workers to try to be able to get the bonus for the work. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah. You run out of money? That's okay. You can go to the bank, but you have to spend your workers to do it.
Yeah. And you're thinking like, I got all these guys. No, you don't. You don't really. You don't.
And you may be watching us right now being like, that's typical worker placement. Like, that's exactly how worker placement works. Not in this game.
This is way beyond that.
For 2, what I would go ahead and say, smart individuals, we were crying on the floor in fetal position that by the end of this game, this is how bad it is. We play multiple games a night. Like, when we sit down to play a game, it's like, okay, we've got this. We've got a handful of games, and it's not like one heavyweight and then...
Yeah, we'll play 5-6 hours.
Yeah, and they'll be medium to heavyweight games for the most part. We finished this game, and I had brought over, what was it? Rolling Realms.
Yeah.
Not an overly difficult game. I pulled out Rolling Realms, and he was just like, oh, hell no.
No, that was too much thinking. I needed something. I neted Super Mega Lucky Box. Yeah. What was the game we ended up playing of yours?
Silver and Gold.
Silver and Gold, yeah. I wanted the most mindless, cartoon, numbing game I could find.
We played Go Fish. So what did you end the night with? Chutes and ladders?
Yeah.
Like, that was all our mind could handle at the time.
So, this game, don't want to scare you away from it. I guess what we want to convey is that it's top 50, right? It's top 50 for a reason. It's number 41. Your first experience with this game, if it's good, more power to you. That's all I have to say. This is going to be a game that I definitely think having 4 people is going to be a little bit easier because it's going to narrow your options at the beginning, and you're going to have to focus. And it opens up because they lock down a lot of the worker placements when you only have 2. They like take half of it away. They literally are not even like, here's a little bit of help because you're 2 players. No, half of the stuff is gone. You close it off. But so I think this 3 and 4 is going to be a little bit better with this game, but the more that you understand where you're getting into and how this really plays, and that this is heavy.
Yes.
Like, this is not a heavy learn, this is a heavy play. Like, we don't have anything to touch it. Kanban doesn't touch it. I don't think a Lacerda game really would touch how heavy this is. And I was reading it, and they're like, this is a complicated game, and I'm like, there's nothing to this. You play the game, and then you're like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, I mean, for heavyweight gameplay, I mean, we compare it to Kanban EV, but even looking at like Brass Birmingham, which is a thinker. Brass Birmingham's not an overly difficult game to learn, but it is a game where you have to think multiple turns in advance. You've got to be able to process that, keep that in mind. You can't do that in this game. Like,
It's so
you
hard.
have to, but there's a lot going on, and there's a limited way to be able to do it, which I love. So yeah, I don't want to scare you away from it. I think both Brad and I thoroughly enjoyed the game, even though it was extremely difficult. I really did enjoy the game. It's a great game. I can't wait to play it again. It will never be the last game we play at the end of a night.
No.
It will start the day off,
Like at noon.
Yeah.
This is your noon game. This is your daytime game when you have your brain.
and then go take a nap, and then come back and join the group again. It is a great game. I'm curious to know, Brad, where are you going to, even though that we've only played it once, this is our first impressions, where are you ranking this game right now?
So, based on the brutal ass kicking the game gives its players, right now it's a 7. So
Okay.
I'm bringing this in a 7. This was his Christmas gift to me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And he when the video you didn't see, and I said that, he's like, "Oh, I'm glad I could give you a 7."
That's
This is going to become an 8, right? This is definitely starting out a 7. Might start out as a 6 for you. It could be that kind of first experience, but this is the kind of game, like, after you've played it a couple times, after you know what you're getting into in its brutality, it'll start to have its own thing, and you'll just understand that it is literally, you're running a mile to get an inch.
yes.
This is the epitome of, we finished the game, I think I had 72 or 75.
It's 77. I had 55.
Yeah. So, and yay, I won. But like normally I'm like, I won. But this didn't feel good. This was not a win that felt good. It was just feeling like, oh man.
We didn't have the mental capacity to understand that one of us won the game.
So, it's
Merry Christmas.
yeah.
Yeah.
And for you, where are you bringing this in at?
I am putting it at current. I wanted it to be a 10.
Yeah, I did
Like,
too. I wanted
I-
this. Like, I had that night. Like, it gave me that Great Western Trail. Like, chaining. This has got all this stuff, and then
Yeah. I fully expected, in all the reviews, all the research that I did, trying to find the game that I thought would be good to get for Christmas. I thought this was going to be a 10. I was excited. I'm still excited to play it. I could not wait to play it. It's currently an 8 for me.
yeah.
So it's a little bit higher than where you're putting it. I definitely gave you a difficult Christmas gift.
This is tough.
I'm putting it at 8. I expect that to go higher. I put it at an 8 simply because while I thoroughly enjoyed the game, this is not something we could bring to the majority of people that we play games with.
Yeah.
It is a game that you have to know your gaming group. You have to know who you're playing with. I think it played fine at two player. I think it'll play better at 3 and 4. I think it played fine at 2. But you can't just show up to a game night and say, okay, so we've played, pick your game, Terraforming Mars. We've played these games, we'll be fine. That may not be the case with this game. You have to be prepared for a lot of thinking. Be prepared for analysis paralysis, especially in the beginning of gameplay. I think once we get a little bit more familiar with some things, and I think having the 3 and 4 person, you made it so well. Having more things on the board that we can play through, because you don't only have to use your own colors stuff.
You get to use energy other people's energy, or you can get it before they can, and things
Yeah,
like that.
you can. Yeah, you have to use your own power plants, but you can use other people's dams to like steal water from that. You can use their conduit, you have to pay them. There's little things. But once you get the gameplay down, I think it's going to get a little bit easier in mechanics, easier in gameplay. But there's always going to be that mental capacity to this game that is not for everybody. So with that said, it's currently sitting at an 8. I see this moving up to a 9, which is about as high as I rate games typically. Is it currently my favorite game that I've ever played? No. Will it break into my top 10? I don't know. I don't know. I've got a lot of great games in my top 10. They tend to be worker placements, so this is right up the alley for my top 10. I don't know if it'll make it in my top 10. It'll definitely make it in my top 20. I am already considering it as something that could potentially be in my top 50, even with only a gameplay, knowing how it's going to progress. So, would it make your top 10, do you think?
I don't think it'll make my top 10. It'll make my list, but like I said, we need a few more points.
That I could give you a loser for Christmas.
No, it's a good game. You got to think of all those things. We're getting a little long-winded. Sorry about that, but it's just kind of how it is, and I hope you enjoy some of that. The people that kind of stick through and muscle through. You guys are the elite ones. We're almost to 100. You guys, we're in the elite group, right? You guys see something in us that we really appreciate. 89 subscribers, 11 more. We're going to be giving away the Dominion big box. So it's got, a lot of stuff in it. The box is like this big. If you want to check out that link, it's right up here. If you want to check out the Caesar versus Blitzkrieg, did a little bit of fun video effects in that. And I'm trying to do some interesting B-roll in this, and let me know what you think. I'm just trying to get better and better, and hopefully you enjoy it and it's worth watching, right? So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like, subscribe, don't ring the bell. Just don't ring the bell. Handing the ball off to you.
Yeah. So apparently, don't like our channel. No. Like the video. If you're not subscribed, please do so. Go ahead and get into that running for that giveaway. We'd love to get some more games out there to other players. So we hope that's something that you would enjoy playing if you end up winning that. And it's a good time to jump in and give away. We don't have 10,000 subscribers, so jump in it now. Leave a comment for us. We'd love to interact with you a little bit. Let us know if you've played this game, if you've enjoyed it, if you enjoy heavyweight games, if you say it's not for me, let's stick with Chutes and Ladders and go fish. Great, let's bring it to the table. It'll be fun. So thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely appreciate it.
Have a great night.